Thank you, and welcome to the Friday follow-up and future forecast or future focus meeting. We are on a recorded session, so everyone will be able to watch the recording, and you'll be able to watch Liana and myself do the presentation before, but we're gonna go ahead and review all of that. I want to remind everyone that this is a webinar section or a webinar format, which means that you will see myself and Liana. We're the two panelists and presenters for today. If you have any questions, please put them into the chat. We will address those as time permits during the presentation and then also at the end. If there are any questions that we can't get to or we can't answer in today's session, then we will answer them offline and provide those answers to everyone that is online. Or we'll carry those over to our next Friday FFFF. So, and then I also want to remind everyone, COVID-19 is a very fluid situation. And because of that, we just want to note that everything that we present is up to the minute information. And that means that that information can also change in the minute that we're presenting it. So please, if you see anything that's out of whack or you need clarity, please reach out to myself here at the chamber, or you can reach out to Liana Adato or Jill Bergman from the town. We are here to help guide you through this very interesting time and help and support our business community and our general community as best we can. So on that, let's get started. So first thing on our agenda is a street closure update.
Sure, so I'll go ahead and share my screen so that you can see the updated street closures that were implemented or adjusted starting today. On Tuesday evening, the town council had a meeting and reviewed comments from the public, specifically business owners, on the impacts of the initial closure area. And in addition to those comments and feedback from the business community, there were a variety of perspectives that were taken into consideration, although it was determined that lifting the more southern end of the closure would be a more appropriate closure for moving forward for this time. There were 4 weekends in a row where it was the larger closure. So again, just to reiterate, we did take into account a variety of feedbacks, but given that during that time, the health order had additional restrictions, indoor dining wasn't opened up, the COVID cases increased. There wasn't as much, unfortunately, of that communal grouping environment, which again, we don't necessarily want too much of, given that crowds are discouraged. But I will go ahead and pull up the map just to show that the closure area that still currently remains is from Diablo to East Prospect. And the other important thing to note is that the initial parklets for the restaurant areas, including this area in the Church Street Court, those still are in place. So the restaurants still have the ability to have outdoor dining during this time, and our retail businesses can still put out sale tables and tents to promote their business as long as it doesn't block ADA sidewalk access. So again, these are decisions that we have to weigh in, not only for for safety reasons is one of the main ones, and one of the other suggestions was to potentially shorten the closure time on that extension, that lower southern part of Harts, although in reality, with the logistics of putting the barricades up, taking them down, it wasn't the best option now for now. So with that being said, we are going to revisit in mid-August, and actually in a couple weeks, we'd be happy to hear, and we're going to go out and get some feedback and kind of get a sense of how things are going, what else can we do, what else can be done. And in reality, as Zay mentioned, and as we all know, it is a fluid situation, and we're trying to adapt as best we can to support the business community, support our residents, and continue adapting and adjusting. So Zay, was there anything I missed from that we had mentioned in the first part?
No, I think that you got it. I think, in the summary of it all, in an attempt to support all of our businesses downtown, the city council had taken the recommendation of many community members as well as businesses to close Hearts in that entire section. And it was with a future vision to see what was going to happen with all of our other businesses, because the idea was that first we were going to have our outdoor dining opened up and help support our restaurants in creating more seating capacity for them, but then also recognizing that in the following weeks after that first happened, that our service businesses were going to open up, and that our retail businesses needed the extra support as well. So when the service businesses were not allowed to open up, and some of it was even restricted, especially with our hair salons, for example, that synergy just wasn't there. So the town council moved to try and bring some more equity into the entire situation. And, you know, it's very important that when we look at that entire atmosphere, you know, there have been some changes to the mask order. So when it first started and the closure was there, it was made into a mask mandatory zone, so that we could help support the businesses in following those orders. But then on top of it, the state said everything is mask mandatory, which means that even eating at an outdoor establishment, that changed that mask order too. It used to be, before the state mask order, that it wasn't required to have a mask on when you were seated at a table, but the new mask order actually changes that. So with the mandated state mask order, means that even when you're at an outdoor establishment or a restaurant, you do have to wear your mask until your food has come and you are consuming it, or you are taking a drink. So I think it's important for that clarification, because the other part is that we were getting a lot of complaints about restaurants not following social distancing and not following the mask order. So to ensure that that is applied, they will be looking at that. The town has already looked at the spacing of the tables. We have asked all of the restaurants to continue to communicate with all of their clients and customers to wear their masks. Naturally, all of the restaurants, their employees will be wearing masks. And it's also important to note that this past Tuesday, the county supervisors in Contra Costa County put forth fine assessments. So there is now fine assessment categories established for both businesses as well as the community as a whole. And those fines will start being applied as of yesterday. So that's an important extension as well.
And I'll just go ahead and add on that, Zay, that the town is working with, you know, a lot of the education is with the business owners. We realize that it is a challenge to implement, enforce, and encourage mostly mask wearing. And so we do realize that that's something that you all have had to assist and take on. In addition, the town is working with our police department and our code enforcement to determine how, you know, a lot of it, again, we don't want to close down businesses. We don't want to cite and fine and take away permits, although in reality, that is something that, you know, we're having to figure out the plan for. So just want to add that.
Excellent.
Okay.
And then while we're on the topic of the health order and clarity surrounding the masks, I also want to bring clarity to outdoor recreation. So we have several of our local childcare businesses and studios that have day camps, recreation camps. So Mustang Soccer is doing practices. Little League is having practices. Many of our dance groups are doing day camps where they're outside doing dances and just general recreation. And I think it's important to note that under those circumstances, the mask order is very specific for those organizations, that during outdoor recreation and physical exertion, that face masks are not required. So hopefully that reduces the amount of calls that we get on a daily basis, because we are getting a lot. Social distancing has to happen. That's part of the requirements for day camps and for outdoor fitness. But the mask order in itself means when somebody goes to the camp, they need to be wearing their mask. They need to follow all procedures and protocols during their check-in. And then once they move over to their outdoor physical activity or their outdoor recreation, then they are not required to wear their mask. They are required to maintain social distancing as much as possible during that recreation activity. And all of those recreation activities mean that they do not share any physical forms or pieces or balls or anything like that during that time. So just wanted to bring that clarity so that when folks are out and about and they see people at a restaurant sitting down and they have food and drink in front of them, you shouldn't expect that they have a mask on. And when you see an organized group of kids at the park or outside of a studio, that they don't necessarily need to be wearing their mask in that specific situation.
Great, thanks for that clarification. And I'll go ahead and segue into the speaking of providing more space for these activities to happen in a social distance safe way. The town continues to review and have applications available free of cost for outdoor dining permits. Some approved, what do I call them, wellness services, so salon, and also here, I'm going to pull up the list so that we can go over that and so that you know where to find these permits. Let me do that. Share my screen. So fitness, wellness, and outdoor dining. That's what I meant to say.
So those three are allowed to do things outside.
Correct. So
I noticed this morning a chair outside of Supercuts as I pulled up to the office. And then Tribez has some folks outside as well. I was going to go over there, but I still need my hair to grow out a little bit.
Good one. Okay, so this is the small business resource page. You're going to want to, for those interested in submitting a permit, this is the temporary outdoor permit section, and below are the different types of permits that can be completed for review. So that's where to find those. And specifically for the outdoor personal services, again, to reiterate, salons are the only ones that can do these services currently. And here is all the links to the guidance and requirements in order to do so. So definitely review this information. It's suggested to review that prior to submitting a permit request. Is there anything else on that or any questions in the chat about specifically the permits?
I do not see any.
Great.
We're good to go.
So I will go ahead and also I know we've mentioned this on several of our previous calls, but continuing to encourage businesses to utilize the Danville Business Directory, which is our online platform. So that's something that we continue to recommend that businesses, this is again for brick and mortar businesses only located within the town limits, as a resource to list their business online. Again, even if your business is not currently open, it's a great opportunity to add information about what your services are, add pictures, add promotions, scheduling. So that's something that can be done on this platform. And there is currently a training video available. We have to make a few updates to it, but it gives you a helpful overview on what to look for. And the other clarification to make, which has come up since our last call, is that if it's a brick and mortar business, per business, there's one profile that can be created. So for example, if there is a salon, even though the stylists have different licenses, it'll just be the one salon. And so same for real estate groups. It's the one real estate firm, and then, you know, agents and teams can be listed within that. So here is again where it can be found straight from the homepage. This is what you'll click this is what you'll see when you click on the Danville Business Directory. And again, this is just a great way to make updates to your business listings and activities. So again, watch the video, and that I'll pull that up.
And Liana, there were some questions I think we need to clarify, because we had talked the last time about moving on to an admin status, and also so that we could get some control over edits and make sure that the proper people were making edits, and there was some security around that. Have we updated that?
Correct. So that's why the video, we need to amend the video to reflect that any changes that are submitted, any changes that are made, they go under review. So within 48 hours, that change, if approved, will be implemented. So if a change is made, it'll go to one of our admin users. I'm one of them, and we'll just review it to make sure for accuracy and to make sure that nobody else who's not supposed to be updating a profile is updating a profile. So that is this information that's currently on here. If you haven't made updates, this is what has pulled directly from the business license software. So really, if there is an amendment or a change to your business, please notify us specifically when it relates to the business license, so that we can have the correct and updated information in our system. But this is more the external facing platform that will be utilized by the whole community at large. And what's neat about this platform is it is mobile friendly. So anyone coming to town and or just wanting to know more about the business community can pull this up on their phone, and businesses, again, the real estate community, can embed this link and this search platform into their own website so that it can be used to search businesses. And something that Zay has mentioned on a regular basis is the more information that the businesses have on their profiles, the more search capacity is available for people who are looking for what the businesses offer. So do you have anything else to add, Zay?
I would just say some clarity on any changes, because in our past calls we've talked about this is cloud-based, which it still is, and you could make changes immediately, but it's important to understand that for security, we need to be able to see some of those changes, because we did have some changes that weren't put in by the correct people, so we need to structure that. If you that is emergency in nature, where you need it to possibly happen before the 48 hours, I think that our timeline is more along the lines of probably about 8 hours max right now. But for instance, if one comes through this afternoon, maybe we can't get to it by Monday. But with that change request, if you can contact us directly as well, maybe we can hop on there and get on there, because I'm an administrator as well. So we made sure that we had enough administrators that would be able to do the right things in checking and be responsive, so that we can get that information on there as quickly as possible. So if you do run into an emergency and you need a specific change, I know that we have had some businesses that ended up having an employee that was COVID positive, and they needed to make a very quick change to their opening hours and their situation. Then we'll do our best to service that.
Yes, good point. We are continuing to monitor it on a daily basis in hopes that we can provide the most up-to-date information. And that's why this platform is so great, because you can make those changes and adjustments as needed, because the situation continues to be so fluid. So we encourage you to utilize that tool. And as far as the admin piece goes, so this site started as an open site to really highlight businesses that were open during shelter in place. Now we're trying to transition it into highlighting and being a search tool for all the business licensed brick and mortar businesses within town limits. And then the next phase will be transitioning into utilizing it as more of a tool for the town to speak to businesses and the businesses to speak to one another. So we're not there yet. We're continuing to figure out the best way to transition that smoothly. So, all right. The next item on the update list will be, I just wanted to share one of the, this was done pre-COVID. We partnered with the Pacific Coast Farmers Market Association to highlight some of our local restaurants. And we now have our Taste of Danville cookbook. It's more like a kind of nice magazine, but this can be found at the Danville Farmers Market Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. to 1. Has some really nice pictures, highlights, has an overview of the farmers that provide for the Danville Farmers Market. And at the farmers market, there's an information table, and this recommended donation is $10 per copy that will then support the Danville Small Business Relief Fund. So trying to, highlight it as an opportunity to not only have a great way to, now that more people are cooking at home, to bring some of the recipes from local restaurants that utilize the farmers market, but also to support these small businesses and restaurants in the community so that we continue to be the foodie environment that we're known for. And I will share where this is on the farmers market page of the website. So it just has an overview of what this information is, and as well as a link to the Small Business Relief Fund. So that's an exciting update. And again, the farmers market is still in its modified form. Masks are required. Only, just come and enjoy, but it's more of an essential market for food and other products that are more essential than too much leisure. And it's still nice. It's great weather. It's a great environment, and we hope you'll go and pick up a cookbook.
Quick service produce. That's what.
Service produce, yes. Let's see. I think that's, what else? I'm trying to think what else.
I think the only other things that we have on the docket are an update on Hearts Around Hearts.
Yes.
And then I'll talk about the PPP.
Great. So Hearts Around Hearts is still in full effect. I will pull up that page. All of the hearts should be out by now, 17 hearts, I believe. And we are still compiling the information and getting that up on the page. That there will be a scavenger hunt launching in the next, I believe the next week or so. So stay tuned for that. You'll, here's the map. So that is something that's available online so that you can see where all the heart locations are noted. And there's also pictures with each of the hearts along with the artist and the sponsor. I believe there are still a few limited sponsorship opportunities. So reach out if your business or individual is interested in sponsoring a heart or part of the program. This public art program will run through October, in which there will be an auction for the hearts. So in the meantime, there will be some activities, again, the scavenger hunt, some prizes that an opportunity for businesses is that they can donate a prize. And then there's also, we have available the heart page that we can drop off at your business, or that we'll add it to the website so that you can print it out as just something for restaurants. It's a good opportunity for kids to color it and hang it up. But again, just another small town, big hearts. That's kind of our messaging right now. So this is a great time to see these hearts as a visual representation of showing love for Danville.
Awesome. And I believe we have one change as far as the map goes. The the heart that was originally in front of Sweet Street is now in front of Wim House, as they start the construction for the changes to the clock tower. So that heart is now in front of Wim House, can be seen there. It's a very pretty one.
Nice.
Excellent. So moving on to the PPP, it is on the Senate floor right now for the PPP to be extended to 501c6s, which would include your local area chamber of commerce. So we're hoping to see an update on that. And want to remind everyone that in its form as it is today, it will close on August 8th. So 1 week from today. Or 1 week from tomorrow. So you want to, if you haven't already put in for it, you want to get on that. And if you need any of that information on how to get the plan, what the links are, who you can get it from, how you get your money granted, how you get that all over, I just put the link in so that everyone can have it. So they have updated the information for the loan forgiveness. There is a new loan forgiveness application, and the instructions for that, as well as the new form, are in the link that I just provided. You just scroll down and you'll see it right there under for borrowers. And it's important to recognize that those forms need to be filled out and then submitted to your lender, not to the U.S. Department of Treasury or the SBA. And if your lender hasn't gotten that information yet, then you can point them to this link as well, so that you can get your information in there and get that settled up as quickly as possible. And that's the update.
Great. Any last minute questions, comments? If so, put them in the chat and we'll reply. And if not, we will make this what will be a pretty lengthy recording. We'll get that up on the website in the next couple of days. It'll be a little bit of a repeat since we had a rehearsal. We'll see if we can section those off. But in the meantime, continue to look out for updates and visit the website for additional information. And as I mentioned, we're here to help. So on that note, have a great weekend.
Yeah, if there aren't any other further questions from anyone, we will sign off. We'll give you the gift of an additional 10 minutes. And just a quick recap. We do have changes to the street closure, so you want to communicate that and understand that. We want to make sure that everyone is adhering by the guidelines set by the health order. We're hoping for a new update next week from County Health, but that is all based off of all of the indicators. We did see a very high spike, especially on July 20th. And since then, we've made great strides for Contra Costa in going back down to where we were. So we want to continue that trend, and we do that by all of us putting our part in how we socially distance, maintaining the mask order, and showing leadership through our actions. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and we hope you have a wonderful and safe weekend. Make sure that you communicate with all of your loved ones, say hello, preach love, enjoy yourselves, stay positive, because we're going to come out at the end of this stronger than we ever were. And that's hard to believe, because Danville Strong is truly a statement. So thank you again, and we'll see you soon.
Stop recording.